On this episode of the Pit Lane Collective Racing, I press a button. Some tempers boil over. And I cause a bit of an incident. Hello and welcome back to the Pit Lane Collective Racing. We are not at Three Sisters this time. Instead, I've taken myself down to Teamsport Warrington to have a crack at their new electric karts. I have been here once before to try out these karts, and unfortunately it was a public session and there were loads of yellow and red flags. Just couldn't set any times. But now I'm back. This is a members event and we're going to go out there and see what we can do. Now, these karts are fully electric, and as such, they drive a little bit differently to their petrol counterparts. Yeah, as you can hear there, I spent the first few laps just trying to get the power down effectively through the corners. In these karts, it kind of felt like it was either no throttle or all power, like full power, and there was not really that much in the way of being able to feed the power on or off. It's just kind of off or on. And that led to some interesting experiences through the corners. The other thing I was trying to get my head around was the boost system in these karts. Because yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure whether it was even working. In theory, the boost should just give you a couple of seconds of extra power per lap, and once you've used it, you have to wait until you cross the line where it'll recharge and you can go again. In my head, that means the light should come on every time you go over the start-finish, but it wasn't doing that. Sometimes the light would flash, sometimes it was a solid colour, and sometimes it just wouldn't light up at all, so I wasn't really sure what was going on there, so I just ended up pressing the button on the exit of sort of one corner and kind of hoping it had worked. But anyway, we filed back into the pits. There was a mild crash as we headed back in. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured, although I think some egos might have been bruised. Anyway, I hopped out the car, had a little look at the lap times, saw I'd set a 53.9, which actually felt pretty good for my first session out on track. So there's the benchmark now. Let's see in the following sessions how much time we can shave off. So it's time to get cracking. Session number 2, let's see if we can get that little guy to actually work. As we head out on track, everyone starts doing some aggressive weaving to try and get some heat in those tyres, so I follow suit. Keep an eye on the kart in front of me. That's kart number 10. We'll be seeing him a little bit later on in this video. But before that, we're about to have our patience tested. As we go around this penultimate corner, the left-hander onto the back straight, there's a red flag waving. So we all draw to a bit of a stop at the bottom of this ramp and wait to see what the problem is. Crazy how much silence falls over the track when there's a red flag and you're all in electric karts. There's no petrol engines running. But anyway, we sat and waited and waited and waited.
5 minutes later. A few minutes later.
Come on. And finally, we're underway again. I don't actually know what caused that red flag in the end. We were sat there for a good 5-6 minutes. But hey-ho, these things happen. Anyway, skipping ahead a few laps, we do seem to have joined the back of a little race here. There's some slower drivers who've been out on track and then some faster drivers who are about to lap them, and I'm coming around to do the same. So, although I've got lap times in the forefront of my mind and I know I want a clear track in order to get that best lap, at this moment, I'm thinking, go on, let's have a bit of a race. Let's have some fun. Anyone who's done indoor karting knows it's so tight, so it's just about trying to follow the quicker people through. Thought I got past this guy in purple, but he comes back up my inside there, and I just get squeezed a little bit onto the inside. I go a bit wide into this ramp, leave the door well open, and this fella in the fluorescent helmet comes through. Flash forward a little bit later on, the fella in the fluorescent has just gone. He's clearly very quick, and we're stuck behind Purple Suit Man. But not for much longer as I throw on down the inside of this right-hander under the bridge. Job done. Next up, these two fellas ahead are having a bit of a battle, and I get the sense that neither of them is particularly happy with the other. We'll follow them through and see if we can pick up any pieces from this. Tempers indeed. It does look like, though, that the guy in the fluorescent helmet, again, has just made his way through the traffic really well, and he's about to do his disappearing act. And sure enough, flash forward onto the next lap, he's pretty much gone. But we are behind car number 10. Remember this guy from back before, you know, that red flag, when we were young and life had so much hope and promise? Anyway, we're following him now. I feel like I'm a little bit quicker, but our pace is pretty similar on the whole. So at the moment, I'm just trying to follow him through the lap, trying to see where I might be a little bit quicker than him, and maybe try and work out a place where I can shake up a move. Now, as we come up this up ramp, keep an eye on the left-hander here and the gap between us. See how it closed? Yeah, bear that in mind for the next lap. Anyway, we follow him through, down this long back straight, through the left and the right, and I'm quicker than him through there. I can carry more speed. Didn't quite feel comfortable going for the move down the inside there, so we stay behind into this series of left-right hairpins. And you can see I take a much wider line into this final hairpin, which gives me a better run out onto this S's straight thing. Can you have a curvy straight? I don't know. Anyway, right-hander under the bridge. We close up a little bit, but I've taken that a little bit too wide. We're all over the back of him now, and I do feel like I've got the pace. I feel like we can make a move. But do you remember that corner I pointed out on the previous lap? Well, yeah, we're closer now, and that gap's going to come down again.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, totally on me. I'll be honest, it wasn't an overtake attempt either. I just hadn't accounted for him being a bit slower through that corner. I waited to let him go past again. He took it well, thumbs up, all good, and we carried on. And in the midst of all that, I actually did manage to set a quicker lap time, 53.6. Still wasn't feeling all that confident in the car, and the boost system I'd just completely abandoned at this point and was just pressing the button all the time. But, you know, that's a pretty good lap time. Decent little improvement. Let's see if we can make another step up in the third and final session. Now that I think I know what I'm doing a little bit more, I figured at this point in the video, let's take you on a flying lap of Teamsport Warrington. It might be right, it might be wrong, but it's what I'm doing. It's almost definitely wrong, but I'm having fun. Turn 1, it's a right-hander, the first in a series of 3 hairpins. You take this one normally, the next one, you want to stay close on the left on the exit so that you can open up this third corner. Spam your boost button as you fly under these Dunlop bridges, hope that your boost works, and then just take the line of least resistance here. Then you chuck the car into this right-hander, try and stay as close to the right as you can before this left-hander comes up on you fast. It's a tricky corner. Then you've got a right hairpin here, and then you've got this right-hander up the ramp. Now, the car will probably lift off at that point. Don't worry about it, just control the landing. Left and right, up the ramp, then through this tight right, and then a left. This is the only section of the track, really, that you want to brake. It's that down ramp, get the cart through that hairpin, then this double apex left-hander, floor the cart down the ramp now as you go through the fastest part of the track. This is a flat-out left and right down the start-finish straight that leads you back round to turn 1 again. Commentating these laps is tough. Full props to all the actual professional commentators out there. I think your job's safe for now, Crofty. Anyway, I just continued hot lapping until we caught up to our old friend who I put in the wall earlier. Let's not talk about that anymore. In my mind, this is a chance at redemption. Let's see if we can overtake him properly without crashing him out. That was weird. At first, I thought he'd just seen me and gone, nope, and then just decided he didn't want me to take him out again. In actual fact, he'd been very kind and moved over to let people who he thought were quicker get through and be able to set their laps. But I didn't want to set a lap at this point. I just wanted to overtake this poor fella without actually just bumping him into a tyre barrier. So we let him past again, and we resume our little battle. Now you can see he's just clipped the barrier on the inside of that final hairpin there, which has affected his speed onto this straight, but I'm just not close enough. Again, I was pressing that boost button and praying, but, you know, no magical speed came out. We couldn't get close enough to make a move there, so we're just sitting behind and following. I can see here that I've got the pace over him, though, so everything in my head is just going, do not hit this guy, do not hit this guy, and make sure to give him a bit more room here through this left and right. And again, you can see how much we close up there. I'm thinking maybe this is a chance to try and move into turn 1. Let's see. I remember from previously following him that he wasn't as quick through the left and right. And as we follow him down this straight, Again, you can see I don't know whether he's flat there, but we've got the overspeed. We throw it down the inside into turn 1, make the move, get a little knock on the back, but that's all fine. Robin's racing, and the kart's stepping out here. Now, this is the only time where I actually felt the boost worked. I pressed the boost there to try and get away from him because I had a tight line through that hairpin, and he didn't overtake me, so I assumed the boost worked at that point. All my adrenaline was up, so, you know, who knows? Maybe it didn't. Maybe it was a placebo. Anyway, we cut to a little while later. Yellow flags came out, and this fella was just walking down the ramp. I think the guy behind me assumed it was the checker and pulled into the pits, but it wasn't being waved until the following lap. So that kept us on our toes, but we pull back into the pits, and I just ease forwards and show off my superior parking skills with a little... There we go. Good session that. We knocked a couple of tenths off our personal best, which is the best ever time I've got around this track now, 53.334. If you have 2 arms and 2 legs, I'm sure you could probably go down to Teamsport Warrington and beat me, but I was pretty happy with that. And we did improve in each session and do an overtake without nearly killing someone. So there you go. Dreams can come true. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, the subscribe, the thumbs up. Give me a comment, you know, shower me with praise and support. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.